What's going on, guys? My name is ADC Art Attack. Welcome to another live tutorial. Today's video is going to be showing you how to draw Goku Ultra Instinct. Well, how to draw his hair anyway, because you guys have requested that I do a hair tutorial and I'm going to provide. So what I've got right here is two things, and I want to make a case in this drawing just showing that Goku and Vegeta are identical. That's right, they have identical faces. Many don't know this, and many do make the argument that, you know, Vegeta's face is narrower, Goku's taller, shorter, blah, 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 things like this. Now, you can find cases like that in the anime and manga to back you up, but those are artist continuity mistakes. You know, those are things that just artists do. But what I've done here is I've got identical faces. This came from the drawing I did previously, the Goku Dragon Ball Z style blue. That was, I don't know. It was my thing that's on the screen anyway. It was that drawing, and yeah, so I traced over it, and I traced over it twice, because it's identical. And just to state my point. So, yeah, let's get on with this tutorial anyway. I'm going to start with Ultra Instinct Goku. Now, I'm going to do Goku on the right-hand side. Why not? And, yeah, so let's get some zoom action going on here, because it'd be nice to see what I'm doing. Can you see what I see? Alright, that's not too bad right there. I think that's a nice area. You know, let's zoom in a little bit more. I like the zoom feature. As you can tell, I'm just getting used to it. I like it. Alright, so what we're going to do here is I've done a circle, right, just to give you a little guide area. And we've got a sort of, the base of the circle comes down to around this point just down here. So we mark off a little dot just here above the sideburns. And this area just around here sort of gives us the hairline. So hopefully we are straight, because we need this in a somewhat straight view. And I'm going to keep this rough, but hopefully not too rough. I hope you guys will still be able to see it. And yeah, so let's start by doing, I don't know, some guidelines. Yeah, guidelines are cool. Alright, so the edge of the circle, I'm going to come up to it just over here and slightly outside of this circle. I don't know where a good spot is. I don't know, something like this looks about good. I don't know, we'll go here. And all I do is I just make a little sort of guide that goes around like so. Don't worry too much about how far you take this just yet, but we want something like that to help us out. Okay, now this is going to be that circle bit of the head, which you guys will see as we go on to it. So to draw Goku Ultra Instinct, we'll come up to this point over here. Now we'll come up slightly off center, and we'll just do these two little lines that go off like so. Now let's get more zoom in. I wonder if I can focus even harder. Sorry guys, I'm just messing around with this. It's quite fun. No, that looks fine. Okay, so, yeah, I'm so sorry. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the corner of this eye. I'm just going to bring it out, and I'm just going to start to go up and meet up over here. Now, what we do is we want to keep these lines pretty stiff. We don't want any sort of smooth curvature to them. We want them pretty stiff. So, yeah, do that. Keep them stiff, and we'll work them. We follow the eye line around the edge, just going up, and, I don't know, we'll go up in this direction. We go up a fairly good height, not crazy, so something like this, maybe halfway of this circle, you know, between this point and this point here, between these 2 points, somewhere around here it looks okay, but we can change this as we go. Now, as you can see, it already looks like Gohan, so that's cool. That illustrates more points. But yeah, so we're going to come across, how do we want this to go? Maybe we'll cut across the pupil, I don't know. We'll go here, we'll cut across over there, and we'll just go around like this, keeping our lines pretty stiff, just so we have a bit of flexibility when it comes to inking, and we'll start to add some of these details. Now I want to leave a little bit of a gap over here, so I'm going to cut right across the pupil like so, maybe leaving a little bit of it on show. I don't know, that might look good. We'll leave a little bit on show like that, and we'll just start to bring it around like this, being aware of how thick we want this hair strand to be. Something like that isn't too bad just yet. Again, we can change it as we need to. So coming over here, somewhere just in line with this lower part of the sideburn, a little bit higher, maybe there. We'll cut across, again, we're cutting across the eye into the corner over there. Now I want to hide this sideburn behind this part of the eye, so behind this hair, sorry. So what I'm going to do is imagine that I'm going off to that point that we made over there. So I'm just going to go off in that direction over there, and then from this point I'm going to come down and just cut off that bit. I don't know why I want to, but I'm just going to cut off that little bit down there. We'll come up, we leave ourselves enough room to come back in again. We don't want to come in higher than this one, so we want it a bit lower. So we'll try and keep it something like that. Doesn't look too bad for those two hair strands. And again, this will become clearer once I get to the ink stage at the end and just sort of, yeah, ink over the hair and the face and move on with life, I guess. So moving on to this little bit, we're just adding a bit more of these details because these are important and it's pretty good to get them in because they look cool. Alright, we'll come over to this one. I always start with the front hair, by the way. I think the front hairs is definitely the way to go. It's the guide that will help you to do the rest of the hair. So what we'll do now is we're going to cut across this and come down to about halfway of this ear. Again, we're going to cut off this whole ear with this first inner strand. So we'll just come up like that and we're going to cut across there. We want to line up maybe a little bit below this point, so something like this, a little bit below it. But again, keep it rough because we don't know the measurements just yet. You know, we're keeping this all stiff, and when we ink, we'll refine the details. But right now, that looks okay. We like that, It's cool! Alright, so I'm going to start with the right-hand side. Why not? And we're going to drop this one very low. Now, what you'll tend to find with Goku and Vegeta is their right-hand side is a little bit lower than their left-hand side for referencing and things. So keep that in mind. It's a nice little thing to keep in mind when you're trying to do the hair symmetrically. Case in point will be Vegeta, which we'll get onto soon. But what I'm going to do now is just sort of flow out here, and we're going to go up to about, we don't want to go up crazy high, so we want to go up somewhere about here at these points. We don't want to go up mental, so we want to cut across these lines just around there, and then figure out how far out you want to go with this. So I don't want to go crazy, so maybe something like that, and then we can just play around, dropping the lines down, doing some things like that. Add in a couple of these lines if you want. They always add a little bit of detail and make it look pretty cool. Now, this is the fun bit because now we have to play a little bit of a guessing game. So first things first, what we'll do is we'll figure out how we need this point. So that's pretty accurate. We need it in line with this point here. So that's pretty good actually. So I'm going to keep that line there, and from there we can work backwards. So what I'm going to do is one little point that comes out here and just go up a little bit. And I want it to go up fairly far out, somewhere in line with this point over here. So we'll go up to about there, and I think that's okay. We can bring that down, and this gives us a little bit of a guide that we can work with for the rest of the hair. So that's not too bad. I'll stick with that. And over here we'll come up, and we want this a little bit lower than that point where it cross over, so that's okay like that. We'll go across here, and then we can just come over there outside of this point, so somewhere around here, and all we'll do is just bend it around. This one's gonna have to come down quite a bit, so bring that one down. And there you go. And if you feel that you've made a mistake, like you've gone too far with some things, don't be shy to add these little bits of details, and they do just correct any mistake that you make. You can add a little bit more of a dimension to it, and it just corrects issues or mistakes that you make. So they're pretty cool. And yeah, so now it's just a sort of a visual game where you just start to look at things. So I want this point to be slightly over center point. So center point will be somewhere around there. So I want it to go about here and in line with this point there. So that will give me this area that I'm looking for here. Now I don't want to go crazy just yet because I don't know the measurements for that. So to figure out my measurements, all I'm going to do is come up with this one, and I don't want to go as high as this point over here. So something like that looks okay. Now if I come in too sharp, let's just say something like that, and I feel that that's going to bring me too low, it's going to bring me over here if I follow that around. What I do to correct this mistake is I add another layer to it. So I just add a layer here, and then I start going from that layer upwards, and that gives me a way out. So now I've just got myself an escape plan. And that's a great tip to give you guys, is just if you make a mistake with this, like look, if I go too sharp, oh no, I've gone too far in with that. Okay, no big deal. I'll just come in here and I'll bring it across there, like so. So just do things like that where you can just add a bit more depth to them. And don't forget to add in other lines to sort of show that there is a bit of depth going on there. And that can go higher, by the way. So let's correct a mistake because I went too low with it. But there you go. We just do that and it corrects everything. So that's pretty cool. That's a good tip. Thumbs up for that tip. That was a great tip. Okay, so great tip, Anthony. Yay. All right, so what else do we need to figure out? We need to figure out the other lines. So we're going to come up to this point over here. Outside there, we know that that's where that point's going to be. So somewhere slightly above this point there. So something like there is where we're going to get this other hair strand over here. Now again, you don't know how far you need to go with this just yet. So just make a rough guide. Just do something rough so you have something on the paper. So I'm going to go like that, which doesn't look too terrible actually. So that might work out. But that's my one thing that I always try to get across to people in my tutorials. Always make rough guides. Whether you think it's going to work or not is irrelevant. Just do the rough guide and then look at it later. Because it's a rough guide. It doesn't matter. Do as much messy lines as you need to. I mean, I'd be drawing a lot freer than this if it wasn't a tutorial. I would be going crazy. There'd be lines everywhere, and, you know, that's just a great way of drawing. As you'll see in my next drawing, actually, which is a Broly piece, I go a bit mental with it. So you guys will get a good look on that. And I did make some mistakes actually during that drawing. So, yeah, enjoy that one. So, yeah, all I'm doing here is this one is slightly above this point over here. So, that's just a key thing to note. Don't forget to add in these lines. Again, they add more depth. So, we're just going to add a couple of them in there. It doesn't matter if they're accurate or not. But for the most part, we have Ultra Instinct. I mean, there it is. It's really, really, really easy to do, actually. And, well, I mean, I hope it's easy. I hope everyone enjoys it. And, well, I hope it helps, really. That's the key point. That's the reason I do these tutorials, because I want to help you guys and, obviously, revenue. But, no, honestly. It's, yeah, it is about helping. And I do enjoy doing this. And you guys have been very responsive to my tutorials. And, obviously, it's you guys who request these tutorials that keeps it going. So, thanks for all the requests, I guess. But there you go, guys. So we sort of got Goku Ultra Instinct right there. And that was really super easy to do. And I hope that it was helpful. Don't forget to do a little hair strand here and there. So moving on to Vegeta. Now, this is stupidly easy. I'm going to show you Vegeta in the easiest way possible. And it's going to take like a minute to do. So again, identical faces. And I'm just going to change it to Vegeta. So first things first, all I do is I do one line that goes straight up here. And this one, it's pretty much straight as well. They go up and they connect to the circle. Once we connect to the circle, we start to go up in the distance. We don't want to go all the way up, so something like this is a good height. So again, we do the same thing. And you can round it off if you want, but round it off later. Don't round it off yet. We don't need to do all that. Don't forget the hairline. That's where the hairline is, just there. So all we're going to do from this point is just join it up to there and just join it up to there. So there you go. You've already got Vegeta's hairline. Then you can add in this to really make it Vegeta. We just add in these two little lines on his temple line just there. Now we've got Vegeta going. He is cracking. Alright, so case in point, what I said last time was one side is lower than the other. So if this side's going to be there, this one's going to be there. If this one's going to be there, this one's going to be there. We're just going to lower them and raise them as we go. So what I do is I come out this bit over here. Don't go too far. We'll go something like that. Over here, we do the same thing. I'm going to come out over here. Don't go too far. Something like that. Doesn't look too bad. Be aware that the left-hand side's one is bigger than the right-hand side's. It's only slight, but there is a difference. Then, once I've got those 2 points, I like to start working on different things. So what I do is I measure the distance of this circle. So we know it comes from the bottom of this line to there. And then we make a little point up here. Now, I'm going to zoom out for this so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to move up. Hello. Alright, so up here is where I believe it to be, somewhere around there. Then all I'm going to do is make a line off in this direction. It doesn't have to be accurate. I don't really care. Just something like that. Doesn't look too bad. And it just has to go to where this halfway point is, around there. Then all I'm going to do is a straight line from this point going straight up here to the top of the circle. So about there. And then I'm just going to do that to there, a guideline there. It's really easy. And then from over here, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up. And now this one's going to go slightly outwards. So let's just go outwards over here. Now, we don't want to go top of the circles. Remember, this one is there. So we're going to go slightly lower. So something there, maybe. Who knows? Maybe we can go higher. I don't know. There. There looks good. I like that. And then we're going to go up on a little slight angle. Doesn't have to go crazy again. A little bit lower than this one. Not too much. But yeah, slightly more lower than this one is. So there you go. It's a little bit lower. And then all we do is we connect the dots. So now we've got our sort of hairnet looking thing going on here. It's really just a matter of filling out the gaps and following loosely the guidelines that I've set out for us on the inside. So all we do is with these, we're just going to go inside, outside, bring it back in, and be aware of the wind, you know, if you're going to add any dynamic range to it. I'm not adding any just for this video because this is a tutorial on the hair and I don't want to overcomplicate things. But be aware that if you have any wind or any sort of directional flow going on, you are consistent with it, but don't be afraid to add a few hair strands that go in a different direction. As case in point with Goku, one hair's going up, one's going down, one's going up. Do things like that. You can flip them, mix and match them, and just play around with it. So up here, we're sort of loosely following this hair strand. Now, I'm not going to give you a tutorial on how to do the inside of the hair because, quite frankly, there is no need for a tutorial for that. I think that to do the inside of the hair, it's just a matter of watching a guide. If you wanted to get this bit, for example, decide where you want it to go and how you want it to go, and then start to map it off like so. But you don't really need to do that for the most part with Goku, with Vegeta, if he's in his base form. It's just black hair, so works pretty well. You can add the highlights if you want to, but it depends on what you're going for, really. If you're going for traditional Z style, it's just black, so you don't really need to add any sort of highlight. So yeah, I mean, there for the most part is Vegeta and Goku. So let's center point us. There you go, sort of. That's sort of working. Yeah, you're getting it. No. We're going to leave it like that. There you go. Alright, so there, for the most part, we now have Vegeta and Goku. But before we had Goku and Goku. So that is what happened, guys. I'm going to now prove my point to you guys by grabbing the tutorial I had done previously. Not tutorial, a drawing I had done previously on tracing paper for these hairs. So, let's line them up. There you go. We have Goku and Vegeta. But, what happens when we put Goku on top of Vegeta? Let's line up the hairs. So we line up the hairlines. Let's line them up somewhere around here. And there you go. We have Goku. Let's go over here. Do the same thing. Line it up. Straight to the hairline. So around there. We have Vegeta. Now this is very bad and very difficult to see because obviously I'm messy as hell underneath. But it works. And yeah. If you did want to see the actual comparison that I did for Instagram before I did all these messy lines and you can see them crystal clear, the hair swap, then go to my Instagram at ADC Art Attack and you can see it right there because it's a much better example than what I just did there, which was horrible case in point because the guidelines are just too messy. So yeah, look at the one that I did on that tracing paper thing and you guys can see exactly what I did. And I hope you enjoyed this drawing. I hope this was informative for you guys and I really hope that you took something away from this. I hope that you guys will now be able to draw Goku's hair and Vegeta's hair, and I hope to see more Ultra Instinct artwork in the future. Okay guys, well I will see you in the next video and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for stopping by. And yeah, a little plug for my Patreon if you guys were interested. I'm going to put a link in the description for my Patreon where you guys can get prints. That's right, you can get prints. 2 prints every single month. You'll get 2 prints of my artwork in high quality every single month. There is a level on there, SSJ free, so if you want to achieve that level, go check out my link and figure that out. There's also giveaways where I give away original artwork every single month on the 15th. You get original artwork giveaway to any one of my pledges. So any Patreon, you guys get into that giveaway. So it's pretty cool. And also there's exclusive tutorials and things coming very, very soon. Beginning from the 1st of March, I have things coming. So, yeah. With all that being said, I will see you in the next video. I'm tired. Alright guys, take it easy. See you next video. Bye bye.